All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm going to cover three of them today. We're going to look at Mullen, as you see on the screen, Horizon, HYZN, and RR. I actually just covered RR not that long ago. All right, so look, Mullen. I actually saw this one on the Discord. You can see the comments right here on the 22nd, and I actually clicked into it. So I'm going to show you why I was able to find Mullen. And really, the same way I found Mullen, it would have been very easy. And I use the word easy lightly. Nothing's easy, and believe me, things go wrong quickly all the time, right? Technicals isn't some magical, like, crystal ball, right? But the same way I found Mullen on that 22nd, I found this one today. And look, this is what I'm basically going to show, and I'll give you more details. Let's look at the Horizon Motors 15 minutes, all right? So today was the 26th, the whole day, nothing's going on. After 1 p.m., we take off. Look at Mullen. Look at Mullen. The whole day we were climbing, 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 climbing. Once Mullen dropped off, the volume went elsewhere. And really, that was the same way I saw Mullen, and it was off of FAIE. Sorry, FFIE. Ooh, that was a mouthful. And then the Crown Elector, whatever. They're all random letters to me, right? But yeah, I'm gonna highlight that one for sure, and I'm gonna chapter those two together. RR, listen, RR. The only reason I covered it was for this technical move. From there, we had some really interesting news, and man, today's 48 million volume actually made this one of the higher volume tickers of the day. So, a lot of interesting things going on, and man, talk about a doji, right? So, this is an interesting one, and truth be told, RR is a little on the 50-50 side, even though things look more beautiful than ugly, right? But I'll give you my thoughts on that one as best I can, all right? So, actually, really excited to talk about these three, but before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we gonna do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here and giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it. All right, so I am going to be talking about both tickers on this first chapter, right? I'm going to focus on Mullen first because I'm going to go over this 822 comment. You can see that's where it starts, right? That obviously led to a nice little run, and then from there I'll transition into Horizon because I'm going to show you how I use this exact thing to find another exact thing, right? And really, the focus here is essentially sectors. All right. Whenever I used to do it, I do a little more like sporadic videos, but to me, it's important to look at a sector as a whole. I know generally, look, I don't have a lot of money. I can't put it in every ticker I want, right? I try to pick the best one in the sector, but I also look at the other stocks in the sector because, hey, maybe they're going to jump from this one to that one to this one, so on and so forth. And that's kind of the moral here, all right? Before I get into that, look, it always starts in the moving averages, and just look at the screenshot, right? We have been essentially well under the 8 moving average, and bad things happen you lose all 5 and you will die. And man, talk about losing all 5 and dying, right? We basically lost it up here around the 4s. We find ourselves down in the cents, right? So the big thing on the 22nd. So So I think I'll get into the details shortly, but on this 22nd candle, this was the first one and the first real good one in a while, basically since this candle right here, that we closed over the 8 moving average, right? We're never here to get excited by a single candle, but the goal basically is break the 8 and go to the 20, right? And that's essentially what happened these last 2 days. Friday was a weird day. It really was. I remember seeing it when it was all the way up here. I remember seeing it drop and end in a red day. But hey, it stayed above the 8 moving average. It stayed well above 50% of the yesterday, right? Of that Thursday candle. I always kind of call Friday a loser day as well, right? So I'm kind of ready to see a red candle on Friday. So, is what it is, right? But yeah, I mean that is an interesting enough doji for me to think, let's see what tomorrow brings. And hey, that tomorrow was today, right? That was Friday, that was today. Not quite a good close, but hey, this made the technical move. I mean, pennies away. Sorry, I zoomed in too much, right? But look at how close it got. You break the 8, you're gonna try to go to the 20. It is what it is, right? I think the failure really makes sense because again, just look at this chart, right? Just look at this thing. We have been nowhere near that 20 moving average orange line since basically right here, since what, January, since May. And really the last good green candle was very early in May, right? So that's not an easy orange line, but yeah, making the move from down here to up here crushed it, right? So what I want to do now is go to FFIE, okay? Because again, if you look at my comment, this is the original one. If Mullen can break it, and it looked like it was a sympathy play off these two stocks, all right? So I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart on FFIE, and then all we're going to look at is this day right here, is this 22nd, all right? So on the 22nd, FFIE is running, it's running around 12 o'clock, around this 1 o'clock, you can say it stalls, right? When I look at Mullen on the same 15-minute screen, in the same August 22nd, it's doing nothing, it's doing nothing, it's doing nothing. All of a sudden, in that 12 to 1 o'clock window, it picks up. And it just never stops from there, right? And you can see the volume starts to pick up. Our MACD goes in all the normal things I say on the daily, the weekly, the whatever's, right? The move, I'm going to show it again, right? FFIE, 15-minute chart, August 22nd, crushing it around 1 o'clock. It stalls out. And the reason was all that monster volume went somewhere else, right? I hope you're with me. Let me know if you have any questions on that, right? Because again, that's how I saw Mullen. Let me show you one more thing, right? On Mullen, if you look at the comments, if you can break 29 cents, I think we're going to kiss 40. And I kept talking about 32 cents, right? It was probably this. Yeah, look at that thing, right? The 200 moving average on that 15-minute chart was 32. Once it broke that 32, man, we more than kissed 40, right? So I'm not here like pretending I see things that others can't and stuff like that, right? I live and die by the lines, and that's what that looks like, all right? I'm going to talk about what I think Mullen is going to do tomorrow shortly. Let's use the same logic for Horizon. All right, we're now into today. Today is August 26th. Mullen, 15-minute chart, crushing it around 1 p.m. Around 1 p.m., things go south. All right, HYZN. Doing on the same August 26th, on the same doing nothing around 1 p.m. No volume around 1 p.m. They jumped here. That's moving in. Listen, I don't really know much about Horizon Motors. It looks like this thing's a cycle, maybe a bicycle thing. I have no idea, right? All I know is if you look at the daily chart here, it actually looks a lot like Mullen. It's a stock that's been under the 8 for a long time, under the 20 for a long time, and hey, it just kind of went for no reason. I'll be honest with you, on Mullen, on this 22nd day, that big candle, it went for no reason. It was either the Friday or maybe it was even today. I think it was the Friday. I saw some sort of headline that someone's buying like 3,000 Mullen cars, right? Hey, that's good. You got a purchase order in hand, right? Give me some money in the bank. I'll take it. But yeah, that news had no reason for it to go from that like 20s to 40s. It did take us from the 40s to the 60s. It just didn't hold, right? So Horizon, again, I really know absolutely nothing. I looked for news. I didn't really see any news, all right? Interesting to see this back-to-back daily chart volume, right? Friday, what I call normally a loser day, actually had some big 61 million volume, and today we actually gained 50% more. We gained an extra 30 million, taking us to that 90, right? So that's an impressive volume growth right there, right? Really, the money line right now for us is, oh man, how close to, I wish there was more decimals here, believe me. So that's 8, that's 8. Oh man, it's like a very early 9. Let's call it 0.93. I'm taking a guess, right? I don't have that third decimal on the system. I use something else, obviously, to balance that, but this is what we're using for the recording, right? But break the 20, and my thought's going to be we're going to go to the 50. Do I think it's going to hold? I don't know. I could see it doing like a Mullen thing, right? Where we'll like do a silly wick and come down. I could see that for Horizon, HYZN, right? Like maybe we can like get to here and then like do a little silly thing and then come back down, right? This should be a little bit of a resistance around 14 cents. But hey, again, if you can go from like 9 something to 14, my, that's a real nice percentage, right? It's all about the volume for sure. Okay, and really, I think I would call 7 cents my death line. You can see at about right here, it goes from 8 to 7, and about right there is my 50% candle line, right? If this starts to get into like 0.77 range, oh man, I actually think it's going to be a real fast fall down to 6. I almost struggle to say that. And then obviously, if we lose 6, we lose all the moving averages and we go back down into that all time low black hole vortex, right? So to me, Horizon was a 15-minute trade, a 15-minute chart trade, right? And hey, that's what Mullen was. Mullen just happened to get some little boost. Believe me, if this thing gets some real headline, that could maybe make it hold, right? But break that 9, hey, it might even be worth just waiting for 10 cents. So get to 10 cents, and man, 14 and 20 are essentially going to be my two lines up. If we get into the 7, I think 6 is going to come fast, and do not lose 6 cents or you go back down, right? Let's end it with Mullen thoughts for tomorrow. So look, all 3 of these candles are obviously over the 8 moving average, but hey, being over and breaking a line are 2 very different things, all right? I like this volume, and it's really hard to ignore this, but gotta give me a little more belief in the moving averages first, all right? We really need to close around this 44 cents. I think I would be okay with like 41 cents. I'm actually gonna lower. Give me a second. Is that 40 off a week? Yeah, we're going to lower that to 41. I think I like 41. We must close at 41 cents for me to believe that we've taken the 8 moving average, and for me to believe we're going to go back up to that 20 moving average sitting, what is that? 59 cents. All right. I would wait for 41 to break if you're not in. Look, that's a very low RSI. And I know the first thought is to think, oh man, 19 is low. This thing can go all the way up to 80 still. What I'm seeing is a wildly flat RSI that's not really diverging that well. Hey, the MACD is for sure. RSI for whatever reason isn't. And hey, I'm not here pretending to be smart enough to like know this math, right? I just know that this is not what this looks like, and that has me a little hesitant. And I think you got to remember how difficult that orange line is, all right? I think it is extremely early to think anything higher than 60 cents. I think 60 cents will be a little bit difficult to get to as well, right? So for now, let's call 41 cents the money line. If we lose 30 cents, if this thing falls to like 28 cents, I would be wildly afraid, and I'm expecting us to come back down to 22. All right, so let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. I hope you understood that 15-minute chart thing. Let me know if you didn't. Otherwise, you know I appreciate you so much. Let's get into RR. Yo, this is a wild chart right here, all right? And it's funny because, you know, I said I liked the move only on a technical reason. From there, you can actually see the technical battle with multiple lines as well, and I'll get to that shortly. And then we get that nice little boost from the news, right? So a good mix of technicals and fundamentals happening over the last like week and a half-ish right here, right? But before I go, hey, if you can quickly subscribe, if you can share this video, oh man, it does wonders with these algorithms, all right? So Again, my first video on RR was probably around here, around that 15th. Break the 8, go to the 20, right? That's a beautiful move. And hey, when the 8's this low and the 20 is this high, oof, that's a nice little run right there, right? You hear me say it all the time. When there are too many lines too close to each other, it's hard to break it. And I think that's what those 4 days look like. And really, that's also what this fifth day looks like. And I'll talk about today a little bit more, right? But I mean, we essentially lived horizontally here for most of the week because, again, you have three moving averages. And really, these are three very difficult moving averages. The 50 is no joke, the 100 is no joke, and the 20 is a really important one, right? If it was these three, it would be, I think, maybe even harder to get over. But hey, RR is a brand new stock. There is no 200 moving average, right? Like when I click on the last day, this has not been around for 200 days just yet, okay? So that actually said, these are the three lines of the four, and those are the hardest of the four, right? So I think I kind of take my words back as I like listen to myself, right? And I think that's actually echoed by today. Look, it's really easy to get excited with this candle. It's really easy to see an 18% day, to see us over this resistance, to see us over all the moving averages, to see a beautiful golden cross, to see a positive MACD, positive RSI, a good volume like this on a normal day would be an amazing, amazing setup for tomorrow. I think it's critical to respect this doji. All right. Couple things are jumping out at me. Number one, that's a really high RSI. 87 is very high. And I mean, that's a beautiful divergence. But 87 is a high number. Again, I've seen 91, I've seen 93, I've seen 99s on the RSI, right? So it's not like things are set in stone, but yeah, you know the caution has to be raised when the RSI is a very high 80, right? Again, I kind of talked about it. We only have four moving averages, and we're stuck in the biggest three of the four. That is not easy to escape, all right? And as good as a candle that was, as nice as all four of these was, as good of a Friday as this was, and a decent Monday after gap up, right? Dojis never count. Dojis scream uncertainty. There's a very, very real chance that we're going to come down to like 122 tomorrow. All right. Now, this golden cross is super loud. I see it, right? We've already golden crossed the 8 over the 20. It looks like we're going to golden cross the 8 over the 50 tomorrow. We might even golden cross both the 50 and the 100. If not, I mean, by Thursday, we should be over both of them, right? Assuming it at least stays flat, right? So I see it, but listen to me. I'm not a candle dude. I'm really not, right? But when they're especially this textbook, when they're on an important line, oh man, I give a little extra resistance. I'm telling you, this is a 50-50 chart. Doesn't matter that this looks good, this looks good, this looks good, and this looks good. Any other day, any other chart, any other candle, I would have said, let's go, let's go, let's go. I need to give the hesitation, all right? From there, look, that 208, this is not a technical term, and I actually used it a little earlier today. The gap fill border, all right? The gap fill border. This is the last good green candle between all the way down here and all the way, not even up here. This is arguably up here, but like that's the true gap fill, right? This 208 line will be harder to break than it looks. I have seen the best setups, better than this, lower RSIs, and like as good everything else. I have seen better setups that for whatever reason don't break these things, all right? We tested it a couple times. We didn't really test it here. We tested it once here. We actually didn't test it on today's wick, right? This 208 is still a fresh line. I think it's reasonable to wait for this to break, all right? Again, remember, we started looking at this thing at like 60 cents, right? So the fact that it's already made this run, my goodness, if you've banked on this, hey, thumbs up. You know what I mean? Nothing's financial advice, obviously, right? But I feel like just the doji alone, the high RSI, and the gap fill border, I think those three things, and again, I've been doing this for a little bit, not a lot of bit, right? But I've done it enough to where those three little red flags in my head, especially all on the same chart, oh man, I'm adding a little extra hesitation. I am sure people are going to be wildly bullish on this one, but I think the caution is well advised. All right, please let me know if you disagree. Right, some people like I'm not gonna be offended if you think I'm like way too like risk averse and this and that. Right, but there's just a couple things that are turning an otherwise amazing chart into a I really need that extra confirmation. And in some ways, man, I would almost wait for 211. I don't know. I'm telling you, I don't know, but let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.